So as part of our public launch of StockOracle, we sat down with the Piranha team to hear firsthand how they've created and used it in their own research and decision making. So StockOracle is a brand new investment tool built by investors for investors. So you can head down to the link below for our latest promotion and start investing smarter with StockOracle today. Now let's get into the discussion proper. So thanks for joining us for the first ever public unveiling of StockOracle. I think this is something really special for the Piranha Profits team. It's 4 years in the making, and we have over $1 million invested in terms of the research and development for this whole product as we unveil today. So today I'm actually joined with the chief architect, which is Khoo himself, the principal engineer, Richard, and the senior researcher of the Piranha team and the co-trainer of the Wealth Academy Masterclass YY. Before we even start the unveiling and talk a lot more about the product itself, I went to research up the About page of StockOracle. So StockOracle's tagline is started by saying that smart investing actually starts with clarity. So I think maybe if I were to start off this entire discussion, when we talk about clarity, what does clarity actually mean to you, Adam?
I think the majority of retail investors, when they buy a stock, they have no idea about the business behind the stock. They're not clear at all about what they're really buying, and it becomes like a lottery ticket. StockOracle gives them clarity about exactly the business behind the stock. Is it a great business? Is it a mediocre business? Or is it a lousy business? So once they have that clarity, and they're not flying blind in a plane, and they can see the runway, they can see the sky clearly, they're able to navigate the aircraft.
Right. So maybe when we start off, I just wanted to understand 4 years ago when you even seeded the idea that you wanted to create a software or an investing tool for retail investors. What really inspired you to create StockOracle?
Yeah, so I mean, as you guys know, my approach for achieving consistent profits in a stress-free, low-risk way and beating the markets over the long run and the short run is really about only investing in high-quality businesses. I always like to say that in the whole market, let's say the US market, 10,000 stocks, less than 1% of these companies are high quality. And these are the ones that I would feel safe putting my money in. These are the ones where even if the market drops in the short term, these stocks will bounce back because they are high quality businesses. They are like the tennis ball stocks. So again, a high quality business is one where, for example, has got consistent growth in revenue, profits, free cash flow, has got a sustainable competitive advantage, high return on capital, conservative debt, blah, blah, blah. And at the same time, when you find a high quality business, you only want to buy it when it's cheap. But how do you know it's cheap? You have to find out the intrinsic value. Now, in order to know whether the company is high quality, you have to do a lot of research. A lot of research. You have to read the financial reports, go to multiple websites, read the CEO earnings call, and then you have to calculate intrinsic value. So, I mean, for many, many years, I did that manually. So I would spend at least an hour to get a surface level understanding of the business and to calculate the intrinsic value. But to really dare to put my money into a stock, I spent another 3, 4, 5 hours to really understand the business model, to calculate the competitive advantage, right? And as you guys know, I've been teaching this for now 20 years, and I've taught students this methodology. And when students attend the program, they learn exactly how I find these stocks. When I buy these stocks, they say, Adam, that's great, that's fantastic, but it's a lot of work. So some of them learn it, and of course, most of them put in the hard work. They put in the hours and hours, and they get the rewards. They make a lot of money, right? But there'll always be some people, and I don't blame them, who after they learn everything, they say, Adam, that's great, but I don't have the hours to put in to do your kind of research. I don't have the hours to calculate intrinsic value. So it was actually my students that kind of like have been coming up to me, said, Adam, is there a faster way of doing this? And even for myself, right? Because it's like, to analyze one stock, in the past, I had to go to at least 5 to 6 different websites to get the information, because there was no one website that gave me everything. Some websites were good for certain things. You have to change from one tab to another tab to another tab. So, but I got used to it, but I thought there must be a better way. There must be a better way, right? So at that point of time, the idea was, wouldn't it be great if we can create one financial app that gives you all the information that you need? So you no longer have to go to 6 places, go to one app, and with one click in seconds, you get all the information that you need that used to take hours and hours of research. So that was the whole idea.
Thanks, Adam, for sharing. And I also understand that even as part of the Piranha team, right, we do subscribe to a lot of tools. Maybe I want to understand from the developer perspective, maybe for Richard. So there are many tools, right? They are all in a particular spectrum. Some may be too complicated, people don't know how to use them. Some might be too simplistic and doesn't share enough data. So when you guys were developing the thing, when Adam was coming up with his request and talking about how we can structure or architect this entire tool, can you share a little bit of the design thinking process? How did you all decide where StockOracle will land on this spectrum and best serve to be that ultimate tool for investors?
Initially, we wanted to build a tool whereby it caters to all kind of investors, from the beginners all the way to the advanced, right? So naturally, when you think of that, what comes to your mind? We wanted to provide as much data point as we can, right? Like if possible, we want to get every single data point and show it on our website, right? That along the way, as we continue the journey of the development and getting feedback from Adam, from our internal testers, even from other stakeholders, the Piranha Profits, they realized that, oh no, it's too complex, and that's how we actually continue to redesign, continue to explore a better way of presenting the data. We make it easier, simpler, faster for any kind of investors to come into our application and look at it and say, okay, this company is a good company. At a glance, they will have a very brief idea that this is a great company. And then when they want to do a deeper research, they can leverage on the other data points that we have, the other breakdowns, and even our AI generated content to actually help them with their investing decisions.
Like the best of both worlds. So on one hand, we wanted to provide enough data points so that people who wanted to calculate their own intrinsic value, they have got their own growth assumptions, their own discount rate assumptions. They have got their own model. They don't have to follow my model if they got their own methodology for analyzing stocks, right? But at the same time, many of my students who have learned my approach and my model, we also wanted them to have a very simple way at one glance, like the Oracle IQ. They can see, is it a great business based on my methodology? So for example, we have got a tool called Oracle IQ, where at one glance, you can see visually, is it a great investment? So for example, the 6 things that it shows you would be number 1, predictability. How predictable is the business revenue and profits in the future? Number 2 is profitability. So how profitable is the business in terms of its profit margins, its return on investment? Number 3 would be the economic moat, which is, can the company protect itself from future competition? We call it the sustainable competitive advantage, something that Warren Buffett looks very closely at. And then the 4th thing is we look at the financial strength of the business. How much debt does it have? How financially strong is it? Right. Then the 5th thing is we look at the growth. Does the company have a high growth potential or medium or low growth? And finally, is valuation, which is the stock cheap or is it expensive? So you can see that even someone who's a complete beginner, they go in there and straight away you know that, okay, great business, lousy, let's stay away from it.
So I wanted to also understand maybe from the developmental perspective of this product, maybe specifically for Richard, you and your team, right? From an engineering standpoint, maybe could I ask potentially what was maybe the 1 or 2 hardest thing to solve when?
So you guys know that we are using FactSet as our trusted data vendor. So they're one of the most reputable vendors out there. What we didn't think of was the integration speed between our system with FactSet. We were underestimating the amount of data that we have to deal with. So for example, I'll just give you a very quick overview. We have close to 16,000 stocks in our database. Imagine that we are actually displaying close to around 400 plus parameters within StockOracle at different pages. You will see many parameters. Actually, it's about 420 if I'm not mistaken. So you can multiply that 16,000 by 420 parameters, multiply by 5 years and 12 quarters, right? So you don't have to press a calculator. I did the math. It's about 110 million data points. So when we were dealing with this amount of massive data, we did not manage to handle it right at the first time, which led to a lot of speed issues, loading issues. What you see now is very fast. When we had our prototype, we were like, oh no, how come it's not loading, and that actually, led us to a lot of redesigns, a lot of discussions, a lot of creative ideas on how can we solve all these issues. And we had a lot of infrastructure design. Proud to say that I think most of the issues are resolved. We are improving it along the way. We are making it as seamless as possible. And Adam and the founding team and the rest of the subscribers who actually give us a lot of feedback, right? The second hurdle, to not really a hurdle, it's more like a challenge to us. Adam is someone who always wants to give the most value to the subscribers, right? There were a lot of requests, improvements along the way, and that we had to manage while making sure that the system is stable. And at the same time, we want to make sure that the subscribers' experience are not affected. So we have to manage that. And along the way, there are also requests from the subscribers. So those are being taken in. And as of today, we have close to 100 features being requested. And we are doing our best actually to plan it out. We are releasing in stages. So you'll be able to see a lot of improvement to our application in the next 6 months or so.
Yeah, so the great thing about this product is that we will keep adding more and more features all the time. There's no end game. In fact, I think we've got so many new features planned out for the next 3 years from now. All right, so you'll keep seeing more and more features popping up because we want to make it the best product ever out there. Some of you would know that we actually already launched it to our students a couple of months ago. So the first launch was for the first group, which was I think about 1,000 plus students. All right, and then they gave us great feedback, and from there we began to fine tune, and so now we've got about close to over 5,000 of our students already using it. So it's not yet available to the public. So if you're not my student, you can't use it yet, but we're going to launch it to the public very soon.
Yeah, and exactly because we have this public unveiling video. So I think by the time this video is dropped, actually it's available for signups from the public already. So maybe I just wanted to, on that note, right, when Richard was describing the first few iterations and the building process, I believe YY has been there since day one, right? And you have been one of the lead lab rat, if I can put it. You have seen through the whole thing, through its evolution. Just wanted to pick some insights from your perspective, using it maybe a few years ago versus today. How was the general feeling like? How has it improved over the years? And how would you actually describe StockOracle today?
I would say StockOracle has definitely improved tremendously over the last few years, especially the last 12 months. Okay, so when we started on this project, one of the things that came to our head is, what do we want inside this StockOracle? Because if we do the same as everybody else, then it's going to be very clunky. There's too much information, and it's not easy for us to use it as a research tool. Okay, but as of now, right, we have already taken in the feedback. We have asked industry experts what are the essentials. So now when I use it, it's fast. I can look at a company and analyze it within a minute and decide whether is it something that is good enough for me to research further. Okay, like recently, some of our students are always asking, why is this company good? But question is, how do we know? Until we do some research. And most of the time in the past, I have to spend at least 30 minutes to look at one company before I can decide if it is something that I want to look further, research further. Okay, but now I can do it within 1 minute. Just go to StockOracle, find the stock, and the data is there. So I think that is definitely a huge improvement compared to when we first started. Okay, now another thing that really improved a lot will be the valuation. Okay, so as we know that in the world of business, valuing a company is very arbitrary. Everybody has their different methods. Okay, the accountants value it in a certain way, the business owner values it in a certain way, and there are so many different valuation methods like discounted cash flow, discounted free cash flow, and so on. Okay, so now in StockOracle, right, at one glance, I have the more commonly used valuation. And over the last 12 months, we have spoken to industry experts on what are the best valuation method that the industry uses. And we use that as a basis for our Oracle value. Okay, so definitely the StockOracle app has improved so much, right? I can do my valuation, I can do my analysis within minutes. As you know, my role, right, is to do research. So every time Adam asks me this question, why is this company good? And he needs to answer fast. So now I can just tell him within a few minutes. Okay, and I can show him evidence. This company is good based on the 6 criteria that Adam mentioned just now using the Oracle iView. Yep. So definitely it's one of the best app that we can have now. There is not too much information, and yet it is sufficient for us to do research, save our time.
Actually, another feature that I'm very proud of is actually the qualitative aspect of the business research. I think a lot of websites out there, they only provide the quantitative numbers, right? Figure out on your own, whether this is a good number or better number. But you don't see much website actually doing qualitative research. And we actually leverage the most cutting edge technology, which is the artificial intelligence large language model, to actually help us to crunch literally the internet, do the work for us, right? And boils down with the help of our prompt engineering. A lot of prompt engineering goes into that. I work with Adam until morning, like 4 a.m. in the morning. We are still talking about how should we improve the prompts, right? And I'm quite proud to say that our prompt now, which is actually currently only available for the moat, the competitive advantage, actually gives a very robust information for us. And when Adam asks us, is this a good company? We look at it, we look at the mode, we look at the scoring. Oh, it's good, it's bad, it's okay, And more of these things are coming, like your AI growth drivers, I think a lot of people will be interested, what makes a company grow in the next 10 to 20 years? Okay, it's coming. The investment thesis, why should I invest in these companies? I think when we bring in these features, more and more of these features, and leverage more and more onto the LLM, I think it's going to cut short a lot of time in the qualitative research.
Yeah, for example, another one is risk. All right. So people, they don't realize that, whatever stock you invest in, no matter how great, there's always risk involved. And the problem is a lot of people, they don't think of the risk. Building this feature into StockOracle, so whatever stock you look at, it'll tell you what can go wrong and how could the business mitigate this risk. So anything you can possibly think of behind a stock will be there with StockOracle.
So actually, to add on to what Adam has said, right? I felt that Oracle IQ, we have gone through many trials and errors, and I mentioned to you, we went through late nights to discuss about what goes into Oracle IQ as well as the prompt engineering for the AI generated information, right? So I think combining these two tools that's available at a fraction of a price is literally something that what I think personally is very close to the holy grail of investing. Literally, it gives you a very quick overview, very detailed information about a company's competitive advantage, which Adam and the team actually preach for, right? In a company that's profitable, have high competitive advantage, is growing at a very high growth and those things, right? So those two tools literally summarize everything that Adam teaches into literally a graphical presentation and a very detailed qualitative information.
So you don't have to ever go to any other website anymore in your life. All you need is just one website.
There's another feature that I love a lot with StockOracle that I don't find in other websites, which is the compare feature. Okay, like in other websites, you can come up with the different parameters like ROE, ROIC, all this kind of stuff. Okay, but it doesn't give you an analysis of what it means. So now with our compare feature, I can put maybe 5 different companies, 6 different companies side by side, okay, and look at the Oracle IQ, and it will tell me which will be the most investable at this moment.
Which has the highest growth, which is the most predictable.
Yeah. So it's very much easy to see rather than just looking at numbers. Okay. So great companies, but if they are overvalued, then it's not a good company to invest in. Similarly, what we want to do is we want to have different types of investment categories. Okay, like speculative companies, how should we look at it? Growth companies, how should we look at it? Predictable companies, how should we look at it? And in the Oracle IQ, the compare feature, we have a model, so-called model answer, okay, that can help our investors to achieve different kind of objective when they invest in the companies.
Actually, we also have a lot of questions, right? Whether I have this portfolio that I've built over the years before we knew Adam, whether it's a good stock to have, whether it's a good companies to hold, is it a good, should I sell? Actually, with our compare feature, I put all the stocks inside, the Oracle IQ will be generated. And at a glance, literally at a glance, less than 1 minute, you can see which of them, right, are the better companies, which of them are the not so good companies. Actually, that's gonna help these people as well. It's truly amazing. Really, this Oracle IQ is amazing. I'm very proud of it actually.
I think since we have alluded previously that there are the whole entire 3 years roadmap has already been planned. If possible, I think without giving away too much, maybe you can share a little bit more about what's the next maybe biggest upcoming feature for StockOracle.
I think the biggest one coming from us will be the more AI generated content, right? I think we want to leverage the most cutting edge technology to help investors make smart investing decisions with a lot of clarity. So the upcoming will be the AI bull and bear cases, whereby AI will give you an argument why should you be bullish about this company, why should you be bearish. I think Adam spoke about the risk, right? So why you should be bearish? What are the risks, underlying risks about this company? We're also bringing in the growth drivers. What's gonna drive the growth of the companies for the next 10 to 20 years. As we all know, company grows, make more money, stock price will, the intrinsic value will go up, right? And stock price will actually eventually follow. So I think, this generated content, like I said, a lot of websites out there, they don't even talk about these things. We have to read into their 10K, we have to look into articles, we have to read into the news, power of LLM and the power of our prompt engineering. I think Adam has 30 over years experience in investing that is built into this prompt engineering that will help to filter off a lot of the noises and just give you guys literally the most important information.
Right. Thanks, Richard. Maybe just one last point I wanted to share just came up to me. I think, Adam, maybe for your own, right, because you have been a great advocate, you've been sharing it over on your YouTube channel as well and how you use it, right? Just a quick question. After StockOracle, how has your investing life changed? And what will you tell to a new investor?
I mean, it's made my life so much easier. So like I said, in my own research, every few days I've got an idea for a stock or someone talks about it, right? And I want to do research. So again, I had to spend a lot of hours. I had to go to at least 5 to 6 websites. And now with StockOracle, not in minutes, in seconds, I get to see straight away. So it's made my life so easy. And I think ultimately, when I set on the guys to build StockOracle, I said, I want to build, something that I want to use every day, right? So in a way, it's a selfish thing that I'm not building it for you guys. I'm building it for me, right? And I'll share it with you guys. And that's how Steve Jobs actually created the iPhone. When, someone asked him, why did you make the iPhone this way? He said, I wanted to build a phone that I would love. And I think same thing here. Between YY, myself, and Richard, we wanted to build something that we would love, that we would use every day, so that if no one else uses it, it's their loss, we will use it.
So Adam, maybe as a retail investor currently watching this video, right, what makes StockOracle so special?
So, I mean, as you guys know, in the old days, institutional investors were known as the smart money, and the retail investors are the dumb money. In the old days, and institutional investors would make all the money, retail lose all the money, because institutional investors had access to resources that retail didn't have, and the resource is data. So in the old days, only institutional investors had the latest data to make the best decisions. Because, for example, to get a Bloomberg terminal, to get the latest data analysis, it costs minimum 2,000 to 3,000 a month of Bloomberg subscription, right? That's about $24,000-$30,000 a year, which, by the way, I also still subscribe for. In fact, for many years, I would say in total, I spent about $54,000 a year on subscription. I subscribe to Bloomberg, to Capital IQ, to FactSet, and all those things. But of course, to me, it's worth it, because to me, $54,000 a year is nothing. I make a couple of million a year. So to me, that is just the cost of doing business. But to a retail investor who has a 3,000 account, 5,000 account, it doesn't make sense for them to spend 2,000 a month on research. And so that's why they'll be losing out. But the good thing is now, because of advancements in AI and technology, now retail investors can have the same tools and same resources compared to the institutional investors. So that's why we wanted StockOracle to be able to give retail investors the same kind of powerful data and research, but at a fraction of the cost. not even 5% of the cost, probably like less than 1% of the cost, but with data as powerful as what is used by institutional investors to make the best decisions.
I think thank you to Adam, Richard, and YY for coming on. I believe you guys had probably gained a lot of insights in terms of the entire development journey of StockOracle. So we are currently running a promotion. So the link to signing up for StockOracle will be in the description below. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Until next time, keep winning.